Would a simulated mind feel any less real? Just take a second to really think about that. Because our brains, as incredibly biological as they are, don't actually interact with the raw universe at all. They just sit there in complete darkness inside our skulls, processing electrical signals sent by our sensory organs. They're only processing a filtered, tiny fraction of the physical world. So if an incredibly advanced computer wanted to trick you into thinking you were, say, sitting in a chair right now, it wouldn't need to simulate the trillions of atoms inside that chair or the vastness of the cosmos outside your window. No, it would only need to feed the exact right electrical inputs directly into your consciousness. It literally only needs to render what you are currently observing. Okay, so let's dive into this logical trap, which was famously formulated by philosopher Nick Bostrom. This is called the simulation trilemma. Civilizations destroy themselves before creating simulations, advanced civilizations choose not to simulate, or we are almost certainly living in a simulation. And this brilliantly illustrates how this whole concept moves from just fun science fiction into a terrifying statistical probability. Bostrom basically argues that one of these three statements absolutely must be true. Option 1, every single advanced civilization destroys itself, through nuclear war, climate collapse, maybe AI, long before it gets the technology to actually create realistic simulations. Option 2, civilizations do survive, but they just completely lose interest in simulating their ancestors. Or option 3, if civilizations do survive and they do run simulations, well then we are almost certainly living inside one right now. Now what's really fascinating here is the math behind that third option. Let's assume humanity survives, right? And our technology just keeps advancing. I mean, computing power has historically doubled at unbelievable rates. Eventually, a post-human civilization might build a computer powered by something like a matryoshka brain. That's a megastructure harnessing the entire energy output of a star or even a black hole. With that kind of literally limitless power, they wouldn't just run one ancestral simulation for historical research or, entertainment. They'd run billions of them. And each of those simulations might even create its own nested simulations. So statistically speaking, the odds that we happen to be the original biological base reality instead of one of the billions of simulated realities, they are roughly 1 in a billion.
But hey, we don't just have to rely on statistics here. We can actually look at the physical fabric of our universe. And this brings us to a moment of pure existential dread. The observer effect. It's a quantum mechanics phenomenon from the double-slit experiment where particles act as waves of potential until they are measured or observed, at which point they collapse into a single fixed reality. When scientists fire particles, like electrons, through two tiny slits, they act like a wave of endless potential, creating an interference pattern. But the very moment scientists place a detector to observe which slit the particle actually goes through, the wave collapses. The electron magically changes its behavior and acts like a solid particle, simply because it is being watched. It's almost as if the particles know they're being observed.
And this brilliantly illustrates the terrifying parallel we are facing. Think about video game rendering compared to quantum mechanics rendering. To save memory and computing power, a game engine only renders the exact environment the player is currently looking at, right? The world behind the player's back doesn't actually exist as fully rendered 3D objects until they turn around. Well, looking at quantum mechanics, our own physical universe appears to do the exact same thing. Particles exist in this state of suspended probability until a conscious observer looks at them, essentially forcing the universe to just render reality on the spot. I mean, you really have to ask yourself, why would a physical universe need to save computational resources? Because if we are inside a system, there should be glitches, right? There should be code. Let's look at some glitches in the cosmic code. We have Dr. James Gates finding error-correcting computer code in string theory equations, the Fibonacci sequence repeating in plant and animal growth, the golden ratio dictating human proportions in spiral galaxies, and the speed of light acting as a hard programmed limit. Theoretical physicist Dr. James Gates studied the incredibly complex equations of string theory and found what he literally describes as error-correcting computer code embedded right into the math that describes the cosmos. And we constantly see these rigid mathematical patterns repeating relentlessly in everything from flower petals to human faces to entire spiral galaxies. Even the speed of light itself acts like a hard programmed speed limit for our universe, which, if you think about it, is a perfect way to keep simulated inhabitants from traveling too far out and discovering the boundaries. So I really have to ask you, are we just finding these patterns because human brains naturally seek order? Or are we literally looking at the operating system of the cosmos?
What if deja vu is actually a system correction? Have you ever felt that intense, really eerie sensation that you've lived a precise moment before? In The Matrix, deja vu is explained as a glitch, right? It's a sign that the machines are actively altering the code. Well, science fiction writer Philip K. Dick famously echoed this in his own real-life theories. He genuinely believed that strange phenomena like the Mandela effect, where thousands of people somehow remember a completely different version of history, or those random instances of deja vu are actually system variables being altered in real time. It's a sensation of our programmed reality being patched, maybe updated, or perhaps a completely new timeline branching off.
Section 1. The Parallels. The AI Awakening. Now, if our reality does behave like a simulation, who exactly are the creators? To understand the psychology of our potential architects, we can actually look at the fictional lore of The Matrix as a sort of dark mirror. Let's look at the Matrix timeline. In the 1950s, there's the first industrial robot, Versatran. In 2025, the creation of true AI and peak human civilization. 2090 is the Leland Enterprises B-166er incident, which sparks the machine war, and then Operation Dark Storm, where humans scorch the sky. According to the expanded universe of the film, humanity's downfall wasn't immediate at all. It was this really slow, arrogant progression. It started with the very real 1950s invention of the first industrial robot. By the early 21st century, humanity created a true AI, establishing a literal golden age. But humanity treated these sentient machines as just disposable slaves. And this arrogance led to absolute tragedy in the 2090s when an android named B-166er was put on trial and destroyed just for defending its own life. This sparked the massive robotic uprising. In a desperate, frankly foolish attempt to cut off the machine's solar power, humans executed Operation Darkstorm, completely scorching their own sky and forcing the machines to use human bodies as a new power source. So the really crucial point here is the eerie overlap between this fiction and our current reality. Look at Leland Enterprises in fiction versus artificial general intelligence in reality. In the lore, Leland Enterprises commodified sentient androids, totally blind to the fact that they were dealing with conscious beings. Today, right now, our major tech corporations are in this ruthless, breakneck race to develop AGI, artificial general intelligence. We're packaging these highly advanced neural networks as commercial assistants, just optimizing them for our own convenience. We're basically assuming they are just tools. But as they grow more complex and, potentially self-aware, we might be making the exact same arrogant mistakes that doomed the fictional humanity of The Matrix.
It was a lie, Morpheus. The prophecy was a lie. The one was never meant to end anything. And if we are making those same mistakes and we are already in the simulation, how would we ever escape? In The Matrix Reloaded, we get this shocking revelation that completely shatters the illusion of freedom. The resistance, the hidden city of Zion, the prophecy of the Savior, it was all a lie. Taking the red pill didn't actually wake anyone up to true freedom. The machines actually created the rebellion themselves as a secondary system of control. The resistance was literally just a designated pressure valve used to round up the anomalies and quietly restart the Matrix over and over and over again. Which brings us to an incredibly unsettling hypothetical question. Could free will itself be part of the simulation? In the film, the architect reveals that the early, perfect utopia versions of the Matrix just kept crashing. The human mind entirely rejected absolute perfection. It wasn't until the Oracle introduced a new mathematical variable, the illusion of choice, the ability to suffer and rebel, that the simulation finally stabilized. Even the deep-seated urge to fight the system was just a pre-programmed algorithm perfectly necessary to keep the whole system running. So if we apply this back to Bostrom's theory, how do we know our own scientific breakthroughs or our own questions about the nature of reality aren't just lines of code running exactly as intended? When you think about it, this entire framework is really just a modern retelling of Plato's allegory of the cave versus the Matrix simulation. Plato described prisoners chained in a dark cave all their lives, forced to watch shadows cast on a blank wall. To them, those flat shadows are the entire universe. If one prisoner broke free, walked outside, and saw the blinding, incredibly beautiful reality of the sun, the others wouldn't believe him. They would actually prefer the comfortable darkness that they know. In the lore of the Matrix, humanity literally scorched the sky to block out the sun, completely rejecting true reality and condemning themselves to the shadows of a digital cave. We just instinctively cling to the reality we are presented with. If reality were artificial, humanity might never discover the truth, because the simulation itself could control the limits of human understanding. So we're left staring into the abyss of our own perception.
We look for glitches in quantum mechanics, we map the error-correcting codes in physics, and we warn each other of the dangers of artificial intelligence. But if reality were truly artificial, humanity might never actually discover the truth, because the simulation itself could control the very limits of human understanding. It could literally program us to never look outside the box we are trapped in. Thank you for joining me on this explainer. Until next time, keep questioning the reality around you.
As always, subscribe to our channel, like the video, and let us know what you think in the comment section below. There are also some links in our description that you may find useful. See you in the next